Bam! Let's talk about that. This is the true Underdog podcast. You've had to overcome some things. We'll start with you, James. What is the hardest thing that you've had to overcome since running Rinse? And then we'll go to you, Ajay.
I think it's getting over myself. And I'm going to tell you what that means. It's, as a founder, I have kind of this bias of like, I can do this thing better than anyone else can. Right. And I can give you an example where when we first started, I drove a lot and I personally pitched our first 300 or so customers, went to their door. And, we got to a point, about a year or so in where I realized, wow, I'm spending every single night of the week on the road till midnight. And I realized like I'm the bottleneck because I could actually be, in my mind, I was thinking there's no one out there who can pitch better than I can. There's no one out there who can like introduce a new customer or product, but I had to let go. And I wish I let go a lot sooner. And I wish I, built better training, better onboarding to get other people to get to that level, because I could have been using that time to do it, to do other stuff. So part of this is letting go, delegating, and kind of getting over myself that, hey, I'm the best. Because it's not about that. It's about surrounding yourselves with people who can run and make you better, make the whole team better. But that took a while for me to understand.
Yeah, it's hard to trust people. It's hard to let go. You have a control problem. I have the same problem. The only reason we were able to grow is they shipped me to Michigan when our operations were in North Carolina, so I wouldn't have my fingers in everything and I could forward think, right? Because I'm the same way. And so it benefited everybody, kind of keeping me out of the weeds a little bit and scaling. But it is a hard thing to do as an entrepreneur. Listeners need to understand the only way you scale is duplicate and replicate. You can't sit here and do everything yourself. You can't be great at everything. Okay, Jay, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say there's two things. One is really just scaling myself. I think as the organization has scaled, it was easier when it was out of my living room. It was just me and James. And even though, he was driving and we were doing all that, you feel like there's more control and it's not that hard to, as long as you have conviction, it's not that hard to get going. But I think as the business grows, as you bring on more employees, as you bring on more investors, I think the challenge for anyone who's a founder or a leader in an organization is to continue to scale themselves so that they are the best person for the company at that time in that role. And I think that for me, I'm very motivated to continue to grow, continue to learn, always get better. But certainly I've had to try to sprint ahead and learn, so that I'm meeting or kind of matching the pace of the company's growth. And that can be challenging. I think, the second thing, which is interrelated in that, is that when we closed our seed round, James mentioned the first 2 years not taking a salary. When we closed our first institutional round, my first daughter was born three days later, and I have two more since then. So I've had 3 kids since building Rinse. So I think really just making sure I'm managing my time, being very deliberate about how I spend my time on Rinse and how I prioritize, and be very open to delegate, and I don't have to be involved in everything. I think that is a very important thing, but really just managing that so I can be, the best person I can be for Rinse, but also be the best husband and father I can be for my family.